Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris. Today we're going to continue our study of John chapter 12, verses 1 through 11. Jesus is at a dinner. Mary breaks a perfume, pure nard over his feet. She's anointing his feet. And, the disciples are going, Judas particularly, hey, couldn't we have sold this perfume and helped the poor with the money? And Judas's response, or Jesus's response is, the poor you always have with you, don't always have me. Judas made a valid point, and Jesus, we hate to say it, but he comes across as a little arrogant. So how does Jesus's response to Judas's objection even begin to answer this question? The poor you always have with you. Does Jesus not care about the poor? Come on. Isn't he the guy who said, when you do this for the least of these, you do it for me? I was naked, I was hungry, I was in prison, you didn't help me. When did we see you like that? When you don't do it for the least of these. Jesus cared about the poor, but he meant something else here when he said the poor you always have with you. Let me read a quote to you. I won't tell you who said it, but you just tell me if you agree with it. I think I've used this quote once before, but as my wife has said many times, yeah, you can use the same stories because we don't remember them. All right, here we go. The quote is, fame is a vapor, popularity is an accident, and money takes wings. The only thing that endures is character. Let me read that again. Fame is a vapor, popularity is an accident. Money takes wings. The only thing that endures is character. Do you agree? You're probably saying, yeah, I like that quote. I agree with it. Do you know who said it? O.J. Simpson. If I had said, O.J. Simpson once said, you stop listening. Even though the quote's good, the source is, and the problem is, yeah, it's Judas saying this. Couldn't the money have, or the perfume been sold and the money given to the poor? It's Judas saying it. And so we automatically don't listen to what he has to say after that. Shouldn't we discount anything Judas says? You'd think so, but again, it sounds like he has a valid point. So did he have a valid point? Actually, no, he did not. His point was terrible. His point was inappropriate on several levels. Let's talk about why his point wasn't as good as you might think it was. Okay, number one, who did the perfume belong to? Judas was acting like he had the authority to decide what to do with this perfume. Did he? No, it was Mary's. Frankly, it was none of his business how she decided to use her perfume. Secondly, it was perfume. What was perfume used for? It was used to anoint somebody. It had no other purpose. You can't drink the stuff, you can't cook with it. If Mary had sold the perfume, whoever bought it eventually would just anoint themselves. It would this perfume could only anoint, that's all it could do. Eventually someone's getting anointed. And Judas is saying, yeah, we can find somebody better than Jesus to anoint with this. Really? Really? Mary is wanting to honor Jesus with her most valuable possession. Let's use the perfume on Jesus. And Judas's point is, nah, somebody else should use it. Third, Mary was making a sacrifice. Jesus had resurrected her brother, and she is moved by his power and by his love. And this was her way of honoring Jesus. And now Judas says it's wrong to do that. If somebody buys a bottle of champagne to celebrate the birth of their child, would you say, whoa, whoa, that's expensive champagne? You could have spent that money on helping the poor. I guess the response to that is shut up. They're celebrating something. Judas, we're celebrating the fact that Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. And you're hitting us with that? Really? And don't forget, Judas's motives were not pure. He wanted to steal this money. So the real question isn't, why didn't Jesus agree with Judas's point? Our actual question is, what made Judas like this? And the answer is arrogance. He saw Jesus being honored, and he wanted to take that honor for himself. He wanted to help himself with the money that they could have had. Why? The larger issue isn't about helping the poor. The real problem is why Judas was like he was, and it was arrogance that made him that way. What happens next shows how far arrogance can go. So, what happens next? Well, look at verses 9 through 11. If I can find it on my phone, that shuts off way too quick. Verses 9, 10, and 11. Meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews found out that Jesus was there and came, not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus as well, for on account of him, many of the Jews were going over to Jesus and believing in him. The chief priests hear that Jesus is back. People are buzzing over how he raised Lazarus from the dead. Now the two of them are having dinner together, and it's causing a big old sensation. Now, most of the chief priests were Sadducees. They did not believe in life after death. They didn't believe there would be a resurrection. And now here's Lazarus, who came back from the dead, and that's a problem for them. So their solution, we're going to kill him. Wait a second, you're going to kill him? You guys are religious leaders. You're supposed to point people to God. And you're going to kill. What did Lazarus do that was wrong? He came back from the dead. You're going to kill him for that? By the way, good luck. He doesn't have a good track record of staying dead. And they're going to kill Jesus too. And as we'll see, Jesus also did not have a great track record of staying dead. But they're going to kill him. Religious leaders are going to kill him. You know, I've been a pastor for decades. I've been to a lot of meetings of elders, religious leaders. And yeah, we've talked about a lot of things. It's usually, things like redoing the parking lot and stuff like that. Never once have we said, hey guys, I have a hit list here of people we should take out. These are religious leaders. How did they get that way? You see, with Judas and with the chief priests, we see the same thing in both cases. Jesus was getting something they wanted for themselves. Think about that kind of a mindset. The Son of God is getting glory that we want for ourselves. That's arrogance. It's plain and simple. Judas can't see that Mary was honoring Jesus. He only sees a chance to get money for himself. The chief priest can't appreciate the fact that Jesus being able to raise someone from the dead means he's the Son of God. People got that. They wanted to follow him, but the chief priest could only see that Jesus was getting more popular, so he has to go. And Lazarus too, just to be on the safe side. They are both so spiritually blind that they can't see. They don't care why someone is honoring Jesus. They only see that they should be getting that honor, and Jesus is keeping it from them. Can you possibly be more arrogant than saying, I know you're giving this to God, I want it? We'll talk more about this next time. Till then, have a great day.